Because I don't think Crawford's going to put him away. And I think Canelo's a much better mover than people give him credit for. And I think Crawford will be hit more and hit harder than he's ever been hit before, but I don't think he'll go out or down.
Consistent with Terence Crawford's fight schedule over the last several years, where he's been pretty much fighting one time a year. That one time a year is clearly giving him a lot of time to rest and recover from his injuries.
Boxing experts are pointing to a major flaw in Terence Crawford's latest training footage. Gareth explained that although he first favored Crawford to beat Canelo Alvarez, his opinion has shifted. As the fight approaches, he now leans toward Canelo, predicting Crawford will face punches he has never experienced before. This change highlights the growing doubts about Crawford's ability to handle Canelo's power and survive at the highest level.
Early on, very close rounds in the first 3 or 4. We'll be divided on who's winning. I think Canelo will get going in the second third of the fight and land some big shots. I think Crawford will look good as well. Rounds 6 to 9, we'll be looking at who's getting ascendancy in the fight. Crawford will have weathered the storm of the big Canelo punches, countered himself, still close rounds. I think Canelo will push away and in my view will win the fight, because I don't think Crawford's going to put him away. And I think Canelo's a much better mover than people give him credit for. And I think Crawford will be hit more and hit harder than he's ever been hit before, but I don't think he'll go out or down. And if he does go down, he'll get up. I think it'll be a very, very close affair. And I think even if in those last 6 rounds, Crawford's got Canelo's number in terms of movement and timing, I still think if it's very close in rounds, I think it'll either be a draw or a narrow points decision for Saul Canelo Alvarez that everybody feels is very controversial, and then they'll do it again. That's how I see it playing, and that's the plot, if you like, with the subplots in the drama of one of the biggest fights we've seen in Vegas since.
Terence Crawford may not be able to maintain his stamina at the higher weight class. He believes that Crawford could begin to struggle as early as the 4th round. The main reason for this is the sudden change in body size and the added muscle mass, which might slow him down. Since Crawford has never fought at this particular weight before, the trainer argues that the adjustments required are immense. Carrying more weight than usual can make even the most skilled fighter feel heavy, drain energy quickly, and lead to early frustration. If Crawford fails to control his pacing under these conditions, he could burn himself out before reaching the middle rounds.
Triple G's former trainer said that Crawford's gonna be quick in the first 4 rounds, but once Canelo figures him out and actually starts hitting Terence Crawford, in which Sanchez described as, quote, like a huge truck hitting him, it'll be game over for Terence Crawford. He explained that Crawford may not have the legs for someone like Canelo in the 168-pound division. Sanchez also added that if Canelo was eventually going to be Crawford's endgame, then Crawford should have jumped weight divisions a while back. Now, Crawford could have technically done that after the Spence fight. However, his once-a-year fight schedule prevented that from happening.
Reports are circulating that Terence Crawford may have picked up a shoulder problem in the middle of his preparations for the Canelo Alvarez fight. While no official confirmation has been given, the possibility alone has caused concern among analysts and fans. This development is especially troubling because Crawford's career has usually been paced carefully, with only 1 or 2 fights per year. That rhythm allowed him to rest, recover, and enter the ring at full strength. The quick turnaround this time has not afforded him that luxury, meaning that any lingering discomfort could linger into fight night. A shoulder injury is not something that can be overlooked in boxing. Nearly every aspect of a fighter's craft, from throwing fast, accurate punches to blocking shots and controlling distance, relies on shoulder health. Even a slight strain could reduce Crawford's punching speed from his power shots, making it harder to gain respect from Canelo. Beyond the physical impact, such an injury could also weigh on him mentally, making him hesitant to fully commit during exchanges. Against a seasoned, heavy-handed opponent like Canelo Alvarez, any hesitation could prove costly. If the injury is real, Crawford faces an uphill battle. Entering the ring with anything less than full health against a fighter of Canelo's caliber leaves very little room for error. What was already seen as a risky challenge could become even more dangerous if Crawford cannot rely completely on his shoulders for speed, power, and defensive reflexes.
Solitary training camp and in every single solitary fight, a guy that is as old as Terence Crawford, 37, 38 years old, is going to have some type of injuries. They're going to have some type of old nagging type of stuff, especially a guy that works as ridiculously hard as Terence Crawford does. That was just a matter of time before wear and tear is going to start going and things are going to start popping off and going wrong, right? Also, you can tell that the reason that this is kind of consistent with Terence Crawford's fight schedule over the last several years, where he's been pretty much fighting one time a year. That one time a year is clearly giving him a lot of time to rest and recover from his injuries and gives his body time to heal up. And as a result, he's ready to go during fight time. So I wouldn't put too much on this. I would say though that if you're a gambling person, man, you should probably want to keep your money in your pocket for this particular fight, man, because this thing can absolutely positively go either way with between the two of these guys. Canelo Alvarez is an exceptional fighter, much bigger than Terence Crawford is, or been fighting at a much bigger weight class than Terence Crawford's been fighting at, and much more experienced at that level at 168 pounds. But Terence Crawford is just such a superb fighter and such an intelligent fighter in there that you can know that he's going to be coming there to fight, and he's got a significant chance to win that fight, unless of course that injury is real. I mean, and it is significant and is preventing him from really sitting down on his punches, because he's going to have to at a point in time with Canelo Alvarez is going to have to do something to get him up off of him.